Hello and welcome to Suddenly Single, the new and hilarious dating podcast.
Where we're going to get our celeb mates to tell us about their dating disasters.
We're also going to have a few experts in the studio to tell us where you and I are going wrong.
Come on, and I don't think you've got enough makeup on.
I need the sun, I need inspiration, I just want to give.
So this week's guest I'm very excited about is Elliott from My Mum, Your Dad.
You're very excited. I've never seen the show, but he seems very nice having his makeup done, hanging out in the makeup room. But you are excited to see him.
I am, because I watched series 1 where he was lovely and now we've got series 2. But I think you and Elliott are quite birds of a feather.
Well, hopefully, he seems like he's got his act together, but let's find out if it's just an act.
I just want to give. Just want to get out of here.
Elliott, thank you so much for coming in. We don't normally do this on Suddenly Single at the beginning, but I'm going to defer to Siobhan because she is like the Wikipedia of Elliott knowledge and your show. So I'll just wade in with a question now and again.
Okay, well done, well done. So for the very few people that don't know, like Tim, but I think most of them do, 20 million people tuned into the first series of My Mum, Your Dad, on which you're extremely popular. You and your handsome son were extremely popular. And you did find somebody on the show. Do you want to catch us all up to speed?
Of course, yeah. So I, myself and my son went onto the show.
Yeah.
And I met up with a woman on the show called Sharon, and we started a relationship. Yes.
Sharon from Sunderland.
Sharon from Sunderland.
Yes. So how long did you two stay together after the show finished? Because it's only been off air for a year.
So we finished filming because before the show airs, there's quite a long time before the show airs between the end of filming and the show. So I think it's about 3 months off the top of my head.
Do you want to just remind us of your story? Why did Zachary put you up for the show?
So I've been single for what seems most of my life, I'm going to say.
I hear you.
It seems to be going on that way. But I think I was just in a bit of a rut, just in life generally. And I've always been quite happy being single, I guess, and quite comfortable on my own. And then it just got to a stage where the opportunity came up. We spoke about it, and he said, "Well, like, why not give it a go?" Mm-hmm. I never went in thinking I was going to meet anyone.
Really?
I'll be honest. For me, it was just a chance to do something different. It's like being here today with you guys. I love doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It was like a holiday camp. It was like going on an all-inclusive.
How long were you
me.
there in this? You all stayed in the same house as well?
So we all in the same house. You're there for 2.5 weeks. Mm-hmm. So for me, just to be in a house for 2.5 weeks and have company was just great, to be honest.
Because normally, prior to that, you lived at home. Your son had already moved out, or he was
No. My son's lives with me, so it's just us two.
Yeah.
But you sort of just have the same routine, do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, like when you stay at people's houses at Christmas and you get up and there's people there.
Yeah.
I was like coming down the stairs in the morning, there was people. It's like, this is great. I'm not going to work.
Do you ever think that you think what you're about to say, how is this going to sound, because it's going to be edited and put out there at some point?
For me, it was always like that because of my work.
Right.
Because I went in there knowing I'm a teacher. I'm on a very tight line, a very tight rope. So it was, I remember when we go and do the interview room stuff, the guy that was doing it with me, I'd chat to him off camera.
Yeah.
And then when I go, he said, it's like you're doing an assembly every time you go on the camera. But I think that kicks in anyway, because how I am with the kids is different to how I would talk to you guys off the camera. There's a guard that comes up that you're aware of. So I was always careful about what I said.
Clever. Prior to going on to the show, had you found love? You said, or were you a perpetual bachelor? Because it's very interesting that you said you were kind of happy being single, and that's the other thing that people don't discuss. That it's not like the end of the world if you are single for a few years. You can kind of dip in and out of things, but it's not like every morning you wake up crying. Presumably that wasn't the case.
Not every morning.
Not every morning. Just a weekend.
Fridays. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
When your son's out, you can have a howl in the bedroom. But what was it like for you before the show? There must have been a reason that you thought, well, let's give it a go.
I was dating, as most people do that are single, but that's a very different animal when you're older. to dating to when in your
Yeah.
20s, because your married friends don't get it. Like your married friends don't get dating when you're older, because their last reference to dating was in their 20s. Now,
There was no internet back then.
no, and there's no pressure, and there's no longevity to it in your 20s.
And there's many more people out there, isn't there, to date?
Exactly, and so when I've dated when I'm older, and I don't know it's been like for you guys in your experience, but I've sort of taken dates to parties, and my friends were like, with someone else then again, are you? You know, and it's like, but this is what it is, because
Completely.
because you find out very quickly that you're compatible with people that you don't always do in your 20s, because you just sort of bounce along. There's no time clock on it.
But how do you meet people though? Because I mean, honestly, I have done it, I'll be honest. Swiping left and right, I just find, I mean, it's no way to judge someone, is it really?
No. I think there's a lot about dating sites that could be better. But for me, going out, I would talk to people anyway. So
you'd still go into a bar, and if you saw a girl that you quite liked at the bar, you try and chat? Would you still do that?
Only if I didn't think of it. As soon as I think about it, I don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm quite a spontaneous person. If I find myself talking to someone, it's because I haven't thought about it. If I kept looking over and thinking, well, they're really nice, I'll go and speak to them, it probably won't happen.
What's your search engine when you go on an app? Is it 10 years younger?
Worldwide.
5? So you'll go to Australia for a date?
I'm one of those people that I think if you like someone, you like someone.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I'd probably have done the same. I wouldn't go older than me normally. I've dated a couple of women that have been older than me, and it's been great. I've had a great time. They probably haven't as much, but it's just who I like.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. If
But
Well, why do you say that? Is that like an energy thing? They don't want to go out as much as you, or they don't want to...
being perfectly honest, which I will be, I think I've found it's very seldom that I've found, but women have said exactly the same thing to me about guys. So this is just from a guy's view, that women that are older haven't maybe looked after themselves as well as they could have done maybe.
Gosh.
But women have said the same thing. But that's why you meet. But then I've met people that are my age that have. So, and that's been the good thing about, I think.
Do you think being a PE instructor makes you a harsh critic?
No.
Or realistic?
No, I don't. I understand. For me, I do quite a lot of work to sort of try and stay as fit as I can.
Yeah.
There's a million people out there that are better than me. I know that, but I think I like people that reflect the same values as I do. So I don't want someone that says, I'm not going to work out and I'm not going to do these things, because I've found through experience that I won't have a lot more in common with those people anyway.
So do you have a dating profile? Are you on any sites?
No.
So if you were, what would you put in your looking for box? Sporty?
I got to the stage with, no, I maybe put that, but I hardly put anything in mine at all, because I got to the stage with dating apps where you know, like it is, when you go on there, and the first time you go on there being really keen.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to put everything in there, my life story. And then you get to the end stage of that, you think, no one's interested. All they care about is what I look like, because that's what the platform is.
They don't care about that, but you have to start somewhere. And there is nowhere else to start.
No, exactly.
Except the picture.
Exactly. And then after a while I thought, well, you could actually just put on there whatever you want, because it could be, you could say I do skydiving at the weekend and whatever you want to say. But I thought if it's just going to be based upon looks, I hardly put anything else on there. I think what they're great at, the dating apps, is that I found for me, is it made me realise how many single people are out there.
There's loads.
And it's, in some ways, it's great endlessly swiping, because you think, I'm not on my own. And I think, and I think that was the main draw about the show. The people that love the show, the single people that love the show, I think it was great for other people to look at and go, actually, it's not just me.
I think that particularly for us is you're not meeting enough new people that are up for on the same page as you. I assume for you, once you've done that show, it's opened up a whole new world of people sliding into your DMs, finding you, recognising you.
I got completely paranoid afterwards. about certain things because they tell you, like, you know, that you're going to have reporters that are going to be trying to. So I just, it got into my head.
Yeah.
And I've probably missed a lot of opportunities thinking that these
Get
reporters.
in touch, ladies. You got your reporter.
But most of the messages that I got people sliding into the DMs, as it were. See, I didn't do Instagram before this, so I started it after the show because they were like, you know, you might want to start Instagram because it helps the show promote the show. So it was all a completely new experience, the whole thing to me. I mean, my son would constantly phone me up and go, take that down, delete that. So what? That's not a story, that's a post. That's not a post, that's a story. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But
What did he think about your performance on the show?
Not surprised. The nice thing for me was he said, nothing you did surprised me. Because he said that when he was watching me on the show, he was like, I don't think I'm going to get showed a lot. But he said, because I wasn't that exciting about you. He said, I knew everything you were going to do before you did it.
That's such a compliment, isn't it?
I thought so. And my friends have said the same thing. They said the nice thing about when they watched me, it was me that they know. It wasn't
That's
me
a big
trying
compliment.
to be someone else. So that was really nice for me.
Really good for you. And so you met Sharon.
I met Sharon.
And how long did that last?
3 months, he said.
3 months. So
Yeah, it's just trying to October, November. Yeah, I'm to around about November, so 3 months. Which, when I found that I was dating before, for some reason, 3 months is sort of like quite a. Don't look at me like I'm going to say a
Pivotal.
long time. No, I'm not. But
No,
that's.
you're going to say it's the turning point.
It
It's a
seems
yes
to be.
or no.
Yeah, no. 3 months seems to be a pivotal point in dating. I don't know why. I don't know if that's because. You know,
Hear that? 3 months, not 3 dates.
no, but
3 minutes.
But I was working this out the other day because I was having this conversation with someone, and it was that you think, how many times would you have seen someone in 3 months? And now with work and you know, you have a really busy schedule, you might have only seen them 4 or 5 times. So that's when you start, you know, the lust kind of starts to wear off.
Yeah.
You start to see them and fancy them as a different person, not just the picture that you saw first of all, or the person in the bar you saw first of all. You start to get them to know them on a different level, and then you start to realise maybe our morals don't quite line up. You know, there's little things that start to come, and that is usually around about 3 months. And that's not just me; that's for both parties.
Yeah.
So what is your longest relationship then in the last... How long have you been single? 20 years? Oh no, probably less than that. 15 years?
No, probably my longest relationship would be around about 5-6 years, and that's with Zach's mother.
So going forward, for anybody that's watching, what would you like to find? Somebody that's similar age to you, somebody that's semi-sport driven or at least fitness driven?
Do you know what? I don't know now.
Yeah.
I've got to that stage where I've had so many theories about myself that
It's interesting. Everything you say, I recognise. It's like you kind of think, well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong or right here, and I'm up for it. I'm not jaded.
I have to
but...
say, I think you two sound a bit similar listening.
I really just have a
Was
good
your
night.
longest-
But yeah, all right, yeah, we'll go out. We'll
4
go do
years?
this.
No, but the other thing is, and this is going to sound really selfish. I'm really happy being single. You know, and I have this conversation with a lot of guys as well. It's like I've got to that stage where you think it's, and I spoke to someone on one of the podcasts I did, and they were saying about this French term for the women where they say they've taken a lover.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it is
No,
like,
I think you get to a stage where maybe that is the answer because you're financially independent, you've got a job, you don't really need anything, and it's very late in the day to put kids together. You know.
But you've said a very good point a couple of times in the past, which I've identified with, that it's quite lonely at a weekend where you think it'd be quite nice to take somebody to that dinner party or to this fantastic event that I've been invited to. And that's when you start to feel lonely. Not that you haven't got things to do and people to go out with, but with somebody, or a Sunday afternoon when you just get the papers.
Is there someone to do nothing with?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
it.
Yeah. So what do you do on a weekend? You just take your time and chill.
so the last God knows how long I've been renovating an extension on my house.
Right.
So that is just literally all I do. So I just keep busy.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I do, yeah.
That's a good way to invite people over to see your extension.
They're always disappointing. It's usually, I thought it was going to be bigger.
It's a 2x4 feet. When was the last time you went on a date then? So you were talking
Last
about
night.
dating. Was it? I don't know. When
I
was
don't know.
the...
He's got a twinkle. Look at him.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't last night. No, a few weeks ago.
Right. And was that through somebody recommendation, or was that somebody who'd slid into DMs, or was it somebody you'd seen before and just...
No, it's someone I've known previously, and we just went out. Just
Right.
like, why don't we have a night out?
Yeah.
And that was nice. But it was just going out for a day.
Right. I think the next part of our podcast with you is going to be very boring because we've got this fantastic expert called Francine, who is brilliant, got so many good, sensible points of view and observations. But I personally think everything that you've said means that you've done the work in the back of your mind and you're in the right place. And I don't think she can say anything that's going to be
I'm
wrong.
going to wait to see what she makes.
Should we bring her in?
I just wanna get, just wanna get out of here.
Francine, you've already met Elliott. Elliott, to me, seems like he's got a wise head on wise shoulders and doesn't really have any issues when it comes to dating or relationships.
I think the beauty of a relationship is finding someone that you love the things that you don't love about them. I think the things that are nice are easy to love. I think it's finding someone that in their worst moments you can hate them but still love them.
Yeah, a bit like you are with your kids, really, in a way that you will always accept what's going on and try and understand it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that changed for me in relationships, I think, was when Zach was born. I get very emotional when I speak about my son. I experienced this unconditional love that just changed everything for me. And I think I wanted to get as close to that as I could, really.
And also, sorry, but you were saying that you brought up your son quite hands-on, and you had him living with you a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That dating was a secondary concern for you,
Yeah.
even when it was presented to you.
100%. I think we're very affected by our upbringing anyway. As like how our parents were, how their relationship was on your dating life, and I think you then because that affects how you are with your kids.
Totally.
And what I found is that there was nothing that was going to come in front of Zach, and I think that was a big problem for a lot of girls that I dated, completely understandably. And if I went back again, I would do exactly the same thing again. Wouldn't make it right, but I would always put Zach
And
first.
was that the way that you were brought up as well?
No, completely different. And I think like you bring your kids up in, and I had a great childhood, but my mum was single when she grew up, and she was very young single when she was sort of out doing her thing. And she had 3 boys, so a lot of the time, you were doing things for yourself. And I think I had the conversation with my brother recently, actually, that I made the decision that I was always going to be around and always be there. And then sort of you have that effect on your kids. And I'm sure there's things that I do with Zach that he won't like, that he'll then do that with his kids.
But that's that unconditional. What you're doing with your son really is healing that part of you that didn't get what it needed at the developmental stage it needed in your childhood. Good childhood, nothing wrong with it at all. Mum's as resourceful as she possibly can be. But to be able to have that consistent, unconditional love, that focus, isn't something that you necessarily had, and you're giving it to Zach. You've given it to Zach.
Yeah, maybe. I think the biggest thing for me, is, especially like, getting on to parenting the kids, but is time. I think people love in different ways, and the way that I love it is more giving of time. Probably because I haven't got the financial resources to love in any other way. And some women, especially that I found on dating sites, is that they want to be loved in a financial way. A lot of them, they want security. And I think I always had a problem with that until I've got older. And funny enough, I had the same conversation with one of the guys on the show about it, because Martin that came in, who upset a lot of people, he was like, I live in Ibiza, I've got 2 boats, and I can do this and I can do that. And I'd always found that, and especially in the area that I'm from, in Essex, it's a very affluent area, and that's how a lot of guys get their women. It's I'm going to take you to the best restaurant, and you're going to get in a Bentley. And I think I always had a problem with that, but that was my own ego, because I couldn't provide that. But when I spoke to Martin about it, he was like, look, I've worked extremely hard for what I've got. So
Yeah.
I'm going to use that to my advantage. And when someone explains it to you, you sort of go, yeah. You know, I dated people that said, right, what I wanted to do, because I go and watch Zach every weekend when I play football. And they're like, every other weekend I wanted to spend it with me. And I've been like, yeah, no.
So that's somebody who does know what they want. So that woman would have known what she wanted.
Yeah, and I think she's completely within her rights, and I didn't have a problem with it.
No.
But for me, I was like, do you know what? Zach's been in my life for X
What's
amount
the
of years.
building blocks now, though? Because you've dedicated your life to your son and brought him up brilliantly, and you're still very close to him. That maybe there's going to be more time now where Elliott's going to be off doing his own thing. How do you adjust now for somebody that's still young and wants to go, actually very young, really, to still be going out and dating? Because you've done the child thing early on. How do you change your mindset to allow other people to be around?
I think a lot of people now are, like, we touched on this, are just happy being single.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. And
No.
I think growing up, maybe in generations, it was like, fancy yourself a man yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was.
and it was like this stigma of like, my God, I've got to find myself a man, you know, or I've got to find
be
myself.
married, got to have a kid, got to
and,
have a
and,
baby.
and the,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
guys
yeah.
one, and I've always hated the expression bird for some reason, but
Yeah, but you're an Essex geezer, so it's okay.
I'm not. I'm from Essex. I'm not an Essex, but it was like, got yourself a bird yet?
Yeah.
And it was always that. So I think
Yeah.
this was always. But I think now, people are like, do you know, especially women. I've got my own job. I don't need anyone financially. I can do what I want, go where I want, and I'm quite happy being single. And I think that's been the nice thing about the Instagram, is that there's a community of people out there, a large community that are like, do you know what? It's not a bad thing being single. Because when you go out with your
Yeah.
friends that are married, all they do is moan about each other, and you sort of kind of think, geez, well, I'm glad I'm just going home on my own.
As you get older, what you want and who you want to be with changes
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Because you said something you were really emotional about Zach, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Now I'm older, I think actually, and I've said this to you, the nicest quality about you is how much you love your boys. And I can see the same thing in you,
priority.
that is a priority. And I think at our age, actually, a woman who's not looking for somebody who loves their kids like that and is still looking for the guy with the Bentley, you don't want to be with that person anyway, I would imagine.
Right, I think we should do Goldfish Bowl of Truth.
Yeah. Just wanna get out of here.
Ladies first.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay. Ever cheated? No.
Oh,
No, I haven't ever cheated. No.
Elliot.
I have towards the end of a relationship, yeah.
That's exactly what I would have said.
Yeah,
It's
and
a man thing.
But I've
why? Because you're moving on mentally.
no, but
Yeah,
I've had it done,
emotionally
I've had it,
detached.
I know that I've had it done to me several times. Well, and it's not
How
that
do you know?
because I've caught a couple.
Oh, in the bedroom.
No, one was
not?
one guy was leaving the house.
Oh, God.
And yeah, no, I know that people that have been with me have started other relationships before they've gone on. But
That's devastating if you like them as well, though.
yeah, do you know what? I've
Were
completely.
you devastated by that?
Or
had you mentally
one of them
checked out?
particularly, yes, I was. But I kind of, as I've got older, I truly believe that I don't think anyone sets out to hurt anyone.
No.
And I think that's the reason why it happens, because people don't want to be honest with people because they don't want to hurt the person. And then they don't know what to do. But at the same time,
So how long have you dated someone when you've actually not wanted to? That's an
oh
interesting
no, I haven't
take.
done no. As I've got older, I've
Yeah.
been very good at like, this is not for me.
Okay.
But when I was younger, maybe a couple of weeks, but not long at all.
Oh, okay.
Not
Not like 6 years and got 2 other kids that they don't know about.
It's a hard one. If you're on a dating app, what would be your must-haves in a partner?
There you go.
I don't think I've got any must-haves.
Well, that's,
Well,
that's
come
the
on.
important thing.
Well, I know what you think.
Geographically, you want them
geographically, I'd quite like them near London. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the furthest?
I mean, do you know the last person I dated? This is honestly true, and I do apologise if you would watch this, but I dated him because he was 20 minutes from this office.
It's
That was
convenient,
that was
geographically
my
It's a good
reason
start,
for
though, isn't it?
agreeing.
What's the furthest you've travelled?
Oh well, I mean that's different because I have a couple of times met people abroad that I've then kept it up with when I've come home or stopped working there or whatever the reason was. But if I was on an app, probably wouldn't want to go further than the home counties. Sorry.
I like it. You're right.
I mean, there was once a very nice guy from Glasgow, but honestly, and he was laughing. He said, "Well, I'll come down." I said, "Yes, but then I've got to come up."
Yeah, that's right.
But I also think sometimes you don't know what you want until you find it, and then you go,
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it, yeah,
That
yeah, I
bit
do agree with
ticks
that.
your box.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with that,
Yeah. Elliott for president.
Fascinating.
Everything he's saying is exactly right.
Fascinating.
Right, last one.
Here we go.
ever proposed, ever turned down a proposal? Let's go first.
Well, you're first, Elliott.
Ever proposed? Kind of nearly once when I was 18.
Looking at a mirror. It's exactly the same.
Kind of,
It's like,
They're like
I
twins,
might as well
aren't
spend
they?
the
Yeah.
night with him with you.
Brothers by a different mother.
kind of nearly proposed when I was about 18.
Oh, okay.
That's
know.
love. That's love is the
that
deepest,
was
right?
that was like a first love, yeah. And then I went to pick her up from. I remember she went away on a holiday and I missed her. And I was 18, and I got this ring from Argos. It was like 1995. It was 90, and I wore this Next tweed jacket. I'd like to wear that again, actually, that Next tweed jacket. And I went up there with a tie on, 'cause it was days where you wore a tie and a shirt. And I got a bunch of flowers. And I met her from Gatwick Airport, got her back to the car, got in the car and gave her this ring. And she opened it. She went, "This is not a wedding ring." And then it just hit me. And I was like, "Oh, good grief, no." And I was like, "No, what are you doing?" And then I broke up with her about a week later.
Wow.
You scared yourself.
I did, yeah.
But you obviously been proposed to, or
Yeah, a few times.
A few times.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, the last guy that I dated, French guy, I think I told you, he got fed up with us living here, and he said, "No, enough. Now we have to go and live in France." And I was like, "Well, maybe when I retire, maybe when I." And in the end, it was just a no. But yeah, nice guy.
I got proposed to when I was 60.
Oh, nice.
Well,
you
not
don't look
really.
60 now.
No.
When was this? Wow.
A few years ago.
Wow.
Quite a few years ago, and it was awful because I've never wanted to get married, particularly since I got divorced in 1995. So it was never discussed, and I was never asked whether or not it would be something I'd like to do or we'd like to do.
That just shows you there's a disconnect in the relationship
My heart's
that he
beating,
hasn't
literally telling
actually
you. Yeah,
knew
literally.
where it was going
Thank
to go.
you for being honest.
No, so my heart's really going. So it was in a beautiful restaurant, and my daughter was there.
She knew he was going to do it.
No, and my son was there.
And he
and
hadn't told
his
them.
son was there.
Oh, no.
And his son's girlfriend, kind of
I
girlfriend,
would have
was there,
said
and
yes.
his daughter.
And said no later.
And he got down on one knee.
No.
And
Did you think
my
heart
whole
attack?
life went in front of my eyes. I thought I was going to pass out.
I can't even look now.
It was I know. I just literally so he got down and then he got back up again, and my heart's beating like mad, and I don't know what to
He
say.
didn't
or
say
do.
it?
He said it, yes, but I couldn't answer. So he got back down again,
Oh, God.
and then he got back up,
Please tell me he said yes.
and then he got back down again. It was 3 times, and then he got back up, and I thought, just say yes because you don't have to, but just say yes.
You don't have to go through with it.
Oof. So I did say yes, and then all hell broke loose.
What, at the table?
Yeah, it was just dreadful. His daughter burst into tears and
Of dislike.
and then she left the table, and then my daughter went after her, and then the girlfriend went, and it was
Tears of
just-
happiness.
No.
Oh, really?
Horror.
Oh, no.
He was married.
The wife is there as well.
Still beating.
Oh, my
Amazing.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a whole other thing that we haven't really touched on, which we should have done with you two, because you in particular, and you, because your children are little, that is very important, getting on with their children.
Let's have a quick look
You
then.
nearly got out of it.
Can you remember the birthdays of any of your exes? One, only because it's a notable birthday, as in it's a national thing everybody would remember every year, but apart from that, no. But I'm not very good at remembering people's middle names and all that kind of stuff, or dates and stuff.
You forget my birthday. You forget my birthday.
In fact,
just missed
yes,
it
I've just
again.
missed it again. And on that bombshell, Elliott, thank you so much for coming in. It's been, great fun actually to have a man's perspective that I agree with on most things. Join us next time on Suddenly Single.
Yeah. Just just wanna get out of here. Woke up feeling good.
So next week, we're joined by the gorgeous Michael Gunning, the Olympic butterfly swimmer, who talks about why he's never dated, but he's ready for a boyfriend now, and how physical fitness is important in a relationship.
Right now.